Hello guys and gals, welcome to Getting Started in Moho. This is Brian, and this tutorial is going to be focused on getting started. Whether you're new to animation or just new to Moho, you'll find this helpful. Or if you're new to animation, you're not going to know how to navigate through any of this or what it does. So I'm going to approach this like you are new to Moho or new to animation and give you hints and tips that you'll need to learn how to do this efficiently. But once you get the hang of Moho, this application is awesome. You can do so much with this program, and the animation is so cool. And I find it much more efficient to animate in the software than anything else I've tried. So let's get started. First of all, when you download Moho, you've purchased it, you've downloaded it, and then you open it for the first time. Something like this is going to pop up. And it'll usually have by default a project that somebody else has created that you can play around with. I'm not going to get into how to animate just yet or what each specific tool does, but rather I'm going to focus on where tools are located and where the things you need are located in this program. It's just an overview of the application, and it'll help you navigate so that way you can start animating much more efficiently. So as I said, when you open the program, something like this opens up as a default. For this tutorial, let's just X out of this. If in the upper left-hand corner, you can close this project and go to File and open up a new project. So I'm going to start with the menus at the top. Your File menu. To get started in Moho, you need to know where you can go to save your project. File is where you are going to import things that you need. Things like objects, images, audio, other projects that you might want to import into the program. Edit, undo, redo, that's all you need to know for the time being. With edit, occasionally I've gone to preferences when I needed to modify something. Your draw tools, all sorts of advanced things when you're drawing. But you don't need to know these yet, especially if you're a beginner. Bone tool, this will become very important when you actually start to animate things. I use this a lot for resetting bones. You can reset all your bone rigging. You can reset a certain bone when you've attached it to your artwork. So that way you can re-rig things. So that's what I use this most for, or to make a smart bone dial, which is more advanced, but we can get into that later. The same with the animation tab. A lot of these will apply to your animation timeline, and it also will apply to what happens with your layers over here in the lower right corner. I use this a lot to clear certain layers, like if I'm starting a new project, I need to clear the animation from a certain layer down in that lower right corner. That is probably one of the biggest things, or adding keyframes to my timeline. Those are the biggest ones I use that for. The script is also going to be more for advanced things once you get your bearings with the essentials here. But this has all sorts of tools that you can use to make your processes faster. The biggest thing I use in the scripts is for I think it's in the drawing, I've used fill quad mesh before. That's the biggest one that I use the scripts for. View, mostly it will allow you to display certain aspects of your tools or not display them if it's too convoluted on your screen. The biggest thing that I use is enable grid, so I can draw my artwork accurately, and then the other is select tracing image. If I want to trace an image on here, I will select an image from this view. And then Windows, this allows you to gain access to all sorts of different tools in the program, like your library. Other windows like your actions and timeline, you can also make those windows disappear or bring them back. So if you're ever wondering if something accidentally disappeared because you were doing something with your mouse and you made something go away, you don't know how, you can go to your window tool and just find that window and reopen it, and then it'll be there again. The biggest thing I use here is the character wizard in the library if I want to import a character. Help is also great. You can go to tutorials made by the software, the help manual, and then also tutorials. Those are very helpful on your journey with this software. So done with the menus, the next thing that we are going to look at is the location of your various tools and windows and what they do. Starting here at the top left, or actually this little tool menu up here. This tool menu shows whatever you have selected. So if you have a certain tool selected, these menus right here, or these on this toolbar, will change depending on what you have selected. So if I'm in these draw tools here, and I'm selecting different types of draw tools, and you'll see you get different options on the toolbar up here depending on what you have selected. This is very useful as you become more advanced. In your draw section, you have all of your draw tools that give you a variety of options for how you create your artwork, from shapes to just drawing lines and strokes to using different sort of brushes. You are often going to use this section, this draw section, in tandem with this style window over here, because you want to be able to set your color, your stroke color, effects on your fill and your stroke. So you're going to be using these tools with this window quite often. The next thing is your fill. These are also going to be used in tandem with this same window over here. So you have your fill. Basically, you can select your shapes that you've made. You can create shapes that you've made. You can use the paint bucket to fill them with color, so on and so forth. The next section here is your layer tools, and those tools are going to be used in tandem with this section down here, which is your layer window. As you can see, it has name, and then you have layer, and then you'll be adding lots of layers to your animation to create your artwork. So you select the layer that you want, and then you can use this layer window to animate, to move, to reset your origin point, which is also important. The next section here is your camera tools. This will allow you to animate what the camera is doing. And then you have your workspace. This is how you can move your workspace without moving the camera. Moving further down, this is your timeline. So this is where the bulk of your animation happens in time. As you scroll along this blue bar, your animation will move from keyframe to keyframe, and then you will modify those keyframes and then modify your artwork to change positions over time. This little toolbar here is your real-time tools: play, stop, fast forward, and then the details of these tools are all applicable to your timeline, and we can get into those when we focus on animating on the timeline. Moving to the right, we talked about this. This is your layer window, and this is where you're going to be creating all your artwork, and you will also be using this window to animate certain things when you're working with layers. So this will be used in tandem with your timeline a lot as well. Up here, this is the style window like we talked about, which is used in tandem with your drawing tools and your fill tools. And then sometimes this window is there, sometimes it is not docked there, but this is your actions. This is what makes Moho incredible. Your actions window is where you create sort of miniature animations that you can reuse over and over. When you're rigging a character, you also create smart actions that can help make your animation more smooth, and you reuse those. You reuse these actions to make animation much faster. I can't say enough about the actions window, but I will do another tutorial on that another time. But that's an overview of Moho. Why don't you can play around with these windows. You can start looking at the individual tools. That's an overview of where to go for what you need. Hope you like this tutorial. Give it a like, a thumbs up, comment on the section below, and let me know what you'd like to see in the future. And thank you for watching. Take care.